Greetings, welcome back. I'm sorry there's so many videos just lately. I've gone a bit crazy, I don't know why. I just thought I wanted to share them couple of new releases really. But you know, apologies for too many videos. But here we are with another one anyway. I might give it a rest for a bit after this one. Pickups. I've still got a backlog to get through, despite having said what I've said in the previous couple of pickups videos. Whereas, you know, I'm stopping buying because I've got everything I want. I have still bought stuff, obviously, and I've still got stuff left from months ago, which I've never got round to. So we'll chip through a few more here. And we'll go new to old, I think. So if you want the juicy retro, skip forward. First up, we've got an Evercade game. This isn't the latest Evercade game I've had, but nevertheless, we've got the Windjammers collection, which is a strange collection in my opinion. I've got a full set of these arcade releases on the Evercade, and I get, you know, Windjammers, fantastic game, brilliant, but they've put it on with Karnov and Armour Force, Atomic Runner, and Vapor Trail. I don't know why they've called it the Windjammers collection. Why not call it the Data East collection? Or, you know, I don't get why it's called the Windjammers and Karnov collection. Seems really weird. But a fantastic selection of games, really. I mean, Atomic Runner is quite good, I think, really. And Karnov I've never really played much except the Spectrum version. A decent little sort of side-scrolling platform adventure game. But I mean, it's worth it for Windjammers alone if you've not got Windjammers on anything, because that's fantastic. Obviously Neo Geo, absolute classic. Right, we've got a few PS5 to show. First one we've got is NASCAR Arcade Rush. Now this is, it's close to being magnificent. Unfortunately, it's not quite there for me. It does look sensational, and it's a pure arcade racing experience, which, you know, I'm all over like a tramp on chips. I have got it, just, I was hoping there was going to be a rolling demo. Unfortunately, there isn't. So I'll just show you briefly what it's like. Like I say, it's a total arcade experience. In no way realistic. Total arcade handling. It looks fantastic, I've got to say, and it plays really well. But the reason I say it could be magnificent and isn't is the fact that it's totally reliant on the boost mechanic, and if you've got no boost, you're not winning. And so unfortunately, all it's about really is maintaining your supply of boost and having some left at the end to power into first position. It's unfortunate. I mean, still good, don't get me wrong, but it could have been truly amazing in my opinion. But anyway, I'll just show you a few seconds of it. And I'm going to be sort of swerving around a lot all over the track and probably hitting walls. But like I say, you've got to make sure you keep the boost topped up at all costs. So, here we go. These blue sections on the track are sort of boost when you're on them, but it's the yellow sections you've got to get to charge your actual boost like that. You start off with a full quota obviously, but it soon depletes, and you've got to be really sort of careful where you deploy it. But it looks and plays fantastic. Just, you know, it looks like a proper, you could believe Sega made this, but obviously they haven't. Missed that one. And that one. So you really can't afford to miss any of them. And although you might think NASCAR it's all oval racing, it isn't. There's no oval racing that I've played. I don't. Might be one, but it's you know, it's a track-based game. It's more akin to Mario Kart really than anything else. And you know, a kart racer. But it is really, really good. You can download it on other consoles. It's not just on PS5. I originally downloaded it on my Xbox in the arcade, I think. So I could play it with the wheel. I can't remember if it worked or not. But I think it might only be physical on the PS5. So as soon as I got the PS5 and realised it was out physical, it was one of the first things I had to buy. Because like I say, it is really, really good. I just wish it wasn't quite as reliant on boost as it is. Because you can't win without it. We'll just get to the end and we'll knock it off. I think this is the last lap. No boost now, you see, I'm in danger of being overtaken. Yeah, there we go anyway. That's NASCAR Arcade Rush. Really, really good. And I think it was quite cheap as I remember. So I'd definitely, if you like arcade races, I would definitely recommend NASCAR Arcade Rush. Quality game. Right, next up we've got another 3 PS5. I'm not going to dwell on this one. 3D mini golf. I like mini golf, what can I say. I've not actually tried this yet. It's really cheap in CEX, so I bought it. That's all there is to say about that. You either like mini golf or you don't. This next one, I've got to thank Dylan for this, Hyper Trigger. He put a post in one of the groups about this ages and ages ago, and it sort of, I remembered it. I think it was before I got a PS5. And it's Signy, which is a Konami game, and it's a shooter, kind of shmup. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. As you can see, this is still sealed. The reason being, it's the second one I've had, because I bought it and played it to start with, and then I realised it was worth more in CEX than I'd paid for it, so I traded it in to, you know, get the extra credit, and I put it towards something else. It doesn't matter what it is. But then I rebought it again because it was cheaper. You know, I was gaining credit. I should have bought more really, but I didn't anyway. And I've not unsealed this second copy, as you can see. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. It's good, but I'm not sure if I like it. If you get where I'm coming from, it's a bit weird. I don't know. It's kind of a vertical shooter with twin stick elements from memory. But I mean, I think it was £10 on the game collection. So if it's still, I mean, it's worth a tenner. If you like shmups, definitely worth a go. I'm not sure I like it that much, but I shall keep it. Because it is, you know, kind of worthwhile. Right, so the last PS5 pickup is Joe and Mac. Caveman Ninja, a new Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja to be exact. And this is another one I used to have, and this I've sort of, well, I had the PS4 version, and it turned out that was also worth more at CEX than this version was brand new. So again, I part-exed the PS4 version into CEX, and then I bought a brand new copy on the PS5. and you do get a nice little badge with it. And I don't know what this is actually. Sticker sheets, I think, which I hadn't got with my PS4 version. So it was an upgrade, and I saved money. And obviously now this was on the arcade and the Super Nintendo. I never played the arcade, and I never had the Super Nintendo version, so I went into this blind, really. And I've got to say, really good game. I'll just share a few seconds of this as well. It's much like sort of the Toki game that came out on the Switch. It's a modernised version of the original game. Not for everyone, obviously, but honestly I think this is really good. It looks beautiful. The only thing I would say is the character moves really slowly. I don't know if that was the case in the original, because like I say, I've never played it. You know, it's you imagine there should be a fast run, but there isn't. Oh no, I've not done that before. He must have ate a chili or something. The levels are quite short, as you can see. We're at the first level boss already, but and there's lots of different weapons you can get. I've never actually had this one before. Anyway, you get the idea. Really good. So I thoroughly recommend that if you're into that kind of thing. Right, we've now got 3 Switch games. The first one, I knew nothing about this, and I just happened to see it in CEX. And it was ridiculously cheap. I will say it was about £5. It was cheap. You know, you never see a Switch game for a £5, do you? But I'm sure this was like £5 or £6 in CEX. And I looked online. It's not a D game. I think it was like £10 online or something. And I didn't. It must be like a cheap download game, because you can imagine it being on a phone or whatever. But anyway, I thought a Switch game for a £5, I'm going to take a punt. Anyway, You Suck at Parking. I don't know if you can see there on the screenshots. It's a very simplistic game. Like I say, you can imagine it on a phone. It might be, for all I know. It's essentially a sort of a zoomed out view of like an area of road, and you've got a little car, and you've got to sort of get around the course. You may have to park in some places to open up other places and avoid obstacles, but you've basically got a time limit to get from the start to the end. Really good. Really surprised me how good this was for £5 or £6, whatever it was. And I seem to remember there weren't that many in stock when I got this. It's been some time now. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you might download it for £1, I don't know. But obviously, physical version on the Switch, you can't go wrong, can you? So, I thoroughly recommend that. And it's you know, pure arcade, quick fun. You can play it for 2 minutes or 2 hours. You know, pick up and play. Brilliant. Right, then next up, these two are sealed. We've got the Irem Collection 3. This came out a while ago. I've not got around to trying it, unfortunately. Like loads of Switch games. I've got so many Switch games I've never even played. But this is the latest Irem Collection, and it's got 3 games on it, I think. It's got Mr. Heli, which is a cool helicopter shmup. Dragon Breed, which I think I've played, and it's really good, as I remember. A shmup, and you've got the sort of the dynamic of a a dragon with its tail to move through the level. Really good, as I remember. I don't know what the second one is. It's in Japanese. I can't remember what it is. It looks a bit like Monkey Hero. Or what's the can't think of the name of it. Monkey. It's on the American Wii. I've got it. Monkey something. But anyway, Irem Collection 3. It might not even be that monkey game, but the graphics look a bit like that. And then the last one, I've got this digital. Had it ages ago. I think it was Champion 2D Rob who first mentioned this, possibly. Months, could be years ago even. And I never bought the physical, and then you couldn't get it, I seem to remember, and then I just kind of forgot about it. And then it was Retro Gaming Langers the other week. He, great lad and channel, by the way, check him out. I'll put a link in the description to his channel. Cracking lad and channel. But yeah, he put a Contra video up, which was really good actually. And I'm sure it was that video he mentioned this game, and it kind of reminded me. And then I looked into it again and found out you could buy it new again. So I did, and we've got Blazing Chrome. I've not opened it, obviously. Like I say, I've got it digital. I think I may have a digital on the Switch and the PS4 possibly. But yeah, it reminded me to sort of grab it. Fantastic kind of Contra style game, hence why it was in the Contra video. But yeah, like, it was cracking video. I'll check it out. It reminded me of a couple of other things which I've ended up buying as well, so there will be more to come on that. But yeah, really chuffed to get Blazing Chrome. Bit like Iron Meat. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Contra game, can you? Right, next up we've got some PSP titles. I'm not going to dwell on these, obviously can't show you these in action really. Now this first one, I had this before I sold my collection, and it was one of those that seems quite scarce, and I thought I might struggle to find this. And I think at the time I bought it, it was the only one on eBay, and I've managed to get back N+. Now I think this is, I don't know, it's got English on the back, but it's got like a German writing on the front. I'm not sure if you can get a full PAL version of this. I can't remember what the one I had before was, but I have a feeling it was the same. So I'm not sure if it's only available in European PAL. Anyway, really good game this. It's kind of a really zoomed out platform game essentially. Sort of a maze platform game almost. You've got a really tiny character and you've got to get obviously around the level to the exit of the screen. I've got a feeling you could get this on the PS3, was it? An Xbox Live Arcade at the time maybe. But anyway, really good game, so I'm chuffed to get that back because I thought I might struggle with that one. Right, next up, I bought these two. Or did I? No, I don't think I did actually. I'd never had this before, but I was kind of curious, so I thought I'd like to try them. And I've got Sonic Rivals and also Sonic Rivals 2. Obviously there's two of these on the PSP, and I think these are exclusive to the PSP. But it piqued my interest because from what I'd read, they were like essentially a platform racing game, which they kind of are really. But I don't know, they're all right, but it was a bit of a letdown. They weren't as good as I was expecting, and I can't really put my finger on why. So you know, it's kind of nice to have them, because that's the best part about Sonic for me, you know. Once you get off Green Hill Zone, Sonic for me goes rapidly downhill, and you know, its USP is the speed, but the problem with any Sonic game for me is you can't use that speed because you know, unless the level is like Green Hill Zone and like a roller coaster, its USP is out the window because you can't use the speed because you've got to take your time negotiating the platform levels, and then it becomes just any old platformer. That's my 2 pence anyway. But anyway, this being a pure sort of racing platformer, I thought might be better. It's all right. It's worth checking out if you can get it for cheap. I mean, they're not dear games, so you know it's worth it if you're interested. Next up, I had to buy this one back purely because this is what I had when I had my original PSP on import from America when that came out, and it was Hot Shots Golf. Obviously, this is the American version of Everybody's Golf, which I've already got, but like I say, I just wanted this because it was this and Ridge Racer that I had with my original PSP console, and so I wanted the original sort of game, what I had back, if you like. And I do find the American ones sometimes are better than the PAL. I think the covers are nicer, and you sometimes get interior art, which you don't get in the PAL versions as well. So, and it's a great game into the bargain. Right, we've now got some racers. Some of which of these I've never had before on the PSP. The first one in question is Mack, and it's got a beautiful sort of chrome silver cover. I don't know if you can see just about, maybe make out the logo. It kind of reflects iridescent in the light. All the writing on the box is in this chrome font. This is an aeroplane racing game, which is kind of unusual. And I've got one on the PS1, Bravo Air Race, and this is on the PSP, obviously, so it's a sort of a later generation game, if you like. This is really good, I've got to say. A pure arcade, like I say, aeroplane racing, which is unusual. So it's nice to get something a bit different, and it looks and plays really well. So if you're into your racers, you might want to check that out. I think that's around a tenner. Not that, I mean, it's fairly cheap, but as PSP games go, 10 quid's a reasonable amount. Next up, I've never had this before, and we've got Burnout Legends. I've never really played much of the Burnout games, if I'm honest, since the first couple. I've always thought the second one was probably the best one. I've never had a PSP version, so interested to try that one out. Obviously, I've not got round to it yet. I'm sure I've had this before. And we've got Colin McRae 05. You can't really go wrong with the Colin McRae games, though I do feel the earlier ones are better. The PS1 originals are my favourites personally, but nevertheless, nice to have. And then, again, I'm not sure I've ever had this on the PSP. And we've got Gran Turismo. Obviously, I've played it on other formats, but I don't think I've had a handheld version before. This does seem really good. I've had a quick go on this. Again, I kind of always preferred the first one of them all, to be honest. That said, the PS5 one is good. Very good, in fact. But this is good. I think I got that from a local. I think I got that from Old School Gaming, actually. We're going back months now. Because it really surprised me when I got the PSP back. I thought these are going to be in all the shops and they're all going to be dirt cheap. And I went round the local shops and could hardly find any, to be honest. There was only about half a dozen, I think, from memory, in Old School Gaming that day I went in. But that was one of them, and I was actually looking for that one at the time, so it just fell lucky, that one did. Anyway, next up we've got two left, and again, I've never had this before either. SSX on Tour. Again, I've probably always thought Tricky was the best one. I think this is this 1 or 2 after Tricky, I think. Again, I've had a quick go on this. Seems good as well. So, and that's pretty cheap as well. I think that's more like a £5. So well worth having. And then the last PSP game we've got is Flat Out Head On. Certainly never had this before on the PSP. But the Flat Out series of games are really, really good. Fantastic sort of destruction arcade races. It's a better version of Destruction Derby in my opinion. And every one of these I've played is really good. And I think this was the last one I hadn't got. I think I've got all of these games now. I'm pretty sure I have. But anyway, I only had a brief go on it. Seems just as good as the others. Right, we've got a little bit of retro left to end the video off. And first off, we've got a Super Nintendo game. And this sort of came about from when I did a top 10 SNES races a while back, and I mentioned this saying that I would possibly have included this had I had it, but unfortunately I never had found it. But that kind of got me looking, and I found one. Because the issue was, it's a very common game, but not in the American format, which is what I wanted. And anyway, I ended up buying this from America. I thought, it's in my mind, let's not mess about. I've been after it years. We'll just order it from America and we'll pay the shipping charges. So I did. And anyway, it's nothing exciting, I know, to most people. But we've got Newman Haas IndyCar featuring Nigel Mansell. Obviously, this is a Universal Game Case box, which I put all my American carts in. But because I don't collect them boxed. I just cart down is fine for me on the American SNES, especially given the prices these days. It's not the best cart in the world, but it served my purpose. I can play it. Really good game. It's aged quite a bit, but it's still a good game, much like the original Nigel Mansell World Championship. That's basically the IndyCar version of the F1 game, and I'm a massive fan of IndyCar, so I had to get that back. I'm chuffed to have it. Right, I say back, I've never had it. I've got it on the Genesis. I've never had the SNES version, which is obviously better. Right, we've got 2 NES titles to finish. Now I've really been since I've set my it's not an NES, it's like one of these Retron style things that plays American carts. So since I've sort of set that back up, I've really sort of been delving into the American exclusive NES games, which you can't get on the Famicom. And I've sort of worked out the ones I want to get in the most part, and over time I've now got most of them. So this is the next couple anyway. This is a game I really regret selling. I had the Mega Drive version. In fact, I've had the Genesis version and I've had the Japanese version over time. And I really regret, it was the Japanese one I had last, and I really regret selling it because it's expensive now. You're looking at 800 quid for it, and I'm not prepared to pay it. Anyway, I found out, I didn't know, it was also on the NES. And I've got Road Blasters. It's in lovely condition, aside from this sticker on the back, but it's a mint cart. Obviously it's not as good as the Mega Drive, but this is really, really good. Road Blasters is a fantastic game, I've got to say. It's kind of a racer, kind of a shooter. It's essentially a shooter in a car, basically, but you've also got a kind of a time limit to get to the end of the level. Honestly, it's really, really good. It's a bit light on colours, obviously, it's an NES game, so it's not as nice as the Mega Drive version, but absolutely fantastic. Really chuffed with this. And then the last one today, I I can't remember how I came about this. It was random. It wasn't on my list to get, I don't think. It's an SNK game. Now, I think there is a Japanese version of this I've subsequently found out, but it's very expensive. So, again, I'm not paying silly prices for old plastic. You know, you've got to draw the line somewhere, haven't you? Anyway, I did import this from America as well. And we've got POW, Prisoner of War, which is an SNK arcade game. Quite nice condition. Like I say, I do love the format of the NES carts, stacked cart only. I think they look awesome, much like the Famicom carts do. But yeah, this is an SNK arcade game, and I do believe it's on the Switch SNK collection, which I've not sort of gone back to since having this. This is fantastic. Brilliant game on the NES, and the colours on it really are good as well. They're not your typical NES game. It looks fantastic. If I can remember, I'll try and put some footage up of these two NES games. But yeah, it looks fantastic. It's essentially, it's a scrolling sort of beat 'em up stroke shoot 'em up at times, because you obviously Prisoner of War, it's like an army based game. I'm assuming, I've not read into the backstory, I don't do backstory, I'm assuming you're like a prisoner on the run trying to escape from your captors, and essentially you're punching and kicking, flying kick, traditional walk, rise and fight style game, but then you can pick up weapons and then you can start shooting people, which, you know, really good. But honestly, this is so well done. A fantastic game on the NES. Both of those, to be honest, are absolutely brilliant. Well worth your time playing if you want to check them out on emulation or whatever. Honestly, check them two out. Both amazing games. Right, I think we'll leave it there. Like I say, sorry for all the videos. Might have a rest. People will be sick of seeing the rubbish I'm putting out. But let me know what you think about any of those. Some really good games amongst them, in my opinion. And there's plenty more pickups to come. Pickups have been raining down quite hard lately. And there just seem to be lots of new cool games coming out as well. So I just, you know, it's never going to end. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's what it's all about. Thanks for watching. Be seeing you.